be given to all worthy males. Within months, missionaries made their way to some of the nations of the vast African continent, and almost overnight, entire congregations sprang up. In February 1998, President Gordon B. Hinckley went to see the remarkable things that have happened in a single generation. They had hoped for it, prayed about it, even dreamed of it. And now their prophet was coming.
I never thought in my lifetime I will ever see the face of the prophet.
Look, if it was a dream, I would say, it's just a dream. But it's real that the prophet is going to be here in my home. He's coming to Nigeria, not in Lagos. He's coming to Port Harcourt. It's like the prophet is coming to my house.
Most of our children, the story about the prophet sometimes looks like a fairy tale. Yeah, because they think it's a kind of very big personality, you know, it's somebody that is very close to God. But for the children, seeing the prophet face to face is going to be something wonderful.
In Nigeria, Latter-day Saints organized work parties to completely scour the government-owned Civic Center in Port Harcourt, where the conference would be held.
We had specific days, all members in the stake. We fixed specific period of the month and the weeks, and they had to go there and wash the place and keep it clean for the regional conference, because everybody wanted to see the prophet.
In Ghana, they prayed more intensely than ever for what they wanted most, a temple.
We are very hopeful, and we are very sure that we're going to get one. And we are praying for it, and we know that the Lord will answer our prayers by giving us a temple in the not too distant future.
In Kenya, they extended invitations to their brothers and sisters in neighboring lands and to their friends who might be interested.
And I've been searching for myself. I need something new in my life. And just seeing the number of Kenyans that have come out, I think that Kenyans are looking for something new, something real, and I think the church really stands a big chance of spreading themselves in this country.
In Zimbabwe, where the church has had a presence since the 1930s, they looked forward to a unifying experience.
The gospel is for Africa. I smile when I think of the fields are white to harvest. I say, no, they're black to harvest. We have got them, and we can reap great rewards. And the sweetest people, as I say again, I've ever met are the people of our own country.
And in South Africa, a 98-year-old woman, a colored woman, as she is called in South Africa, who became a Mormon in 1920, prepared to meet her third prophet leader.
And the church that I went to is known Mobley. You know Mobley? Eh?
Mobley, yes.
That's our branch. And there we all got baptized in that church.
Yes, the Latter-day Saints of Africa prepared to welcome President Gordon B. Hinckley, to see him, to hear him, to be strengthened in their faith. Call it an historic moment, a first for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in all of Africa. The priesthood leadership session of the first regional conference ever held on the vast continent. Priesthood leaders from at least 4 of the church's 8 stakes in Nigeria gathered in Port Harcourt, just as Latter-day Saints do now regularly in Salt Lake City and many other parts of the world, to receive instructions from their leaders, often general authorities.
This audience is a miracle. The start of the church, always just a little seedling, just a beginning, just 1 of a city and 2 of a family. That's just the way it starts.
It started 15 years ago for Kalu Iche Kalu.
I joined the church when President Spencer W. Kimball was the president of the church.
Almost immediately, he was called to serve in the presidency of his branch. Since that day, as he says, he's never been able to sit in the congregation. He's always had leadership responsibilities. Now he's Bishop Kalu, struggling to oversee a burgeoning membership.
We were splitted, I think it's November or September. The sacrament meeting attendance is about, one Sunday when El Raika was there, we were 305. That is to say, 305, and there was no seat. He said, well.
That's the way it's been in Nigeria since the first official missionaries entered the country in 1978. But even before those missionaries arrived, beginning in the late 1950s and through the 60s, congregations of people calling themselves the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints sprung up spontaneously in Nigeria. They'd come across church literature, including the Book of Mormon, and found the doctrines to their liking. By the time missionaries got there in 1978, entire congregations were waiting and ready for baptism.
We are looking for a way, a place where we should get satisfaction in serving the Lord.
And so I came to the church on my own evolution, my own contact. Nobody spoke to me, and that is why I was able to still maintain the membership of the church, because I feel it is a divine intervention.
We went into the waters of baptism, and when I came out, I felt as light as anything, because actually there was a newness of life that I felt in me.
I love you for pioneering, for starting us, for getting us to this wonderfully mature point that we can have the president of the church here, and all that that means in the continued development of the church.
President Gordon B. Hinckley arrived halfway through the Saturday night priesthood leadership session of the two-day regional conference in Port Harcourt. There to greet him, a small chorus of children.
Missionaries were sent.
Inside the Alfred Dita Spiff Sports Complex, priesthood leaders from at least 4 of the 8 stakes now organized in Nigeria. Their nation is slightly more than 2 times the size of the state of California and borders the Gulf of Guinea and the Atlantic Ocean. It's one of the world's most densely populated nations with more than 100 million people. Half are Muslim and live in the northern half of the country. In the south, Christianity prevails, and that's where the Latter-day Saints are expanding rather dramatically.
In the 2.5 years that we have been in Nigeria, I have never had a person refuse a referral. They all want to hear the gospel.
George and Ann Pingree of Salt Lake City oversee missionary work in the Port Harcourt Mission. That's one of the 3 missions in Nigeria. The missionary force is made up primarily of young African men and women. In just 20 years, the church's membership in Nigeria has swelled to more than 30,000.
In some places, we'll get 70 to 80% attendance at sacrament meeting, especially out in the villages.
Our people, by their culture, are very receptive. At times, because of curiosity, they would like to listen. Even if they mightn't in the end be convinced, at least they will be patient enough to listen.
They are by nature a deeply religious people, and churches of many denominations abound throughout the land. Their services, like this one in a village near Port Harcourt, are often lively, their worship enthusiastic, and that sometimes presents challenges for those who convert to Mormonism.
They still have sympathy for some of the practices in the former churches they belonged to. So when they come, it becomes a little difficult to get them entirely out of the old principles.
Surely the Lord God will do nothing.
That's one reason for conferences like this one. Nigeria is part of the church's Africa area, led by Elder James O. Mason of the church's Quorums of the 70. He regularly visits Nigeria to teach them. Occasionally, he is joined by other LDS general authorities, but the people will tell you none of those visits quite compares with this one by their prophet.
My, you look good. You look wonderful. This is the first time I've been in Nigeria. I had no idea that we'd have a great number such as this afternoon for this leadership meeting. Thank you very much for being here.
The feeling of every member in my ward is just historic. It's something everyone has never dreamt of.
Don't let the little problems worry you. Move ahead with the great opportunities to build the kingdom of God in the earth.
We're happy to see him, and if possible, can be coming once every 5 years.
The church will go in Nigeria as you go. If you don't do anything, nothing very much will happen to the church. But if you are anxiously engaged in assisting those for whom you are responsible, the church will grow and blossom and strengthen, and there will come into your hearts a great sense of satisfaction.
We are lucky to be one of the people that set eyes on him for the first time the prophet is entering Nigeria. We are really grateful, and we thank our Heavenly Father for that.
For the best local news, you turn to the Channel 5 Eyewitness News at 6. Veteran journalists Bruce Lindsay and Dick Norris have earned your trust as Utah's most experienced anchor team. You want real news. That's why the people of Eyewitness News dig deeper and go out of their way to deliver news important to you. By 6, no matter where it happens. Bruce Lindsay, Dick Norris, Mark Eubank, and Craig Bolerjack. The #1 Eyewitness News at 6, the news specialist.
What do you know about your ancestors? I've always wanted to know more about Grandma Israelson. I was named after her, Eva.
My great-great-grandfather lost his whole family to cold, starvation, and disease on the Oregon Trail. He was only 10.
What do you know about your ancestors? Visit Ancestry.com. This remarkable website includes over 400 searchable volumes with over 85 million names. Visit www.ancestry.com today.
In an uncertain world, who knows what tomorrow's headlines will bring? Don't wait to give your family the peace of mind that comes from Permapack food storage products. Permapack makes it easy to provide delicious food storage to please even the fussiest eaters, and with budget plans starting at just $1.29 a day. Anyone can afford to start now. Call Permapack for a free, no-obligation analysis of your family's food storage needs and to taste how good food storage can be. Permapack. Call 1-800-230-FOOD.
In epic style, the new historical series Prelude to Glory chronicles the miraculous events that gave birth to a new nation. Through the eyes of the fictional Dunson family, author Ron Carter weaves the fabric of conflict and triumph that established a free nation wherein the gospel could be restored. The inspiring story of the American Revolution, Prelude to Glory by Ron Carter, the story before the work and the glory. Available from Bookcraft, wherever LDS books are sold.
They could hardly contain their excitement the morning of February 15th, 1998, as they gathered early at the Alfred Dita Spiff Sports Complex in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, to await the arrival of President Gordon B. Hinckley. Everyone dressed in Sunday best. A time to greet friends from other communities, to renew acquaintances, to enjoy a few moments of strengthening fellowship. Never before had this many Nigerian Latter-day Saints been together. More than 12,000 of them would fill the hall. That's 2 Salt Lake Tabernacles full of people, mostly first-generation members of the church, but also many of their friends.
Oh, it will be a great event for us. We are so excited to have our prophet come to Nigeria.
Several days earlier, Kenneth Wobo Opara did what many Nigerian Latter-day Saints had done. He extended invitations to his friends and business associates to attend the conference.
We are trying to do our possible best to convince our people, our friends, to come and witness what we have seen.
Professionally, Opara is chairman of the main political party in the Port Harcourt region. A challenging job, he says, but one he does much better since becoming a Latter-day Saint several years ago.
Not only my management, but my attitude and the way I do things. So yes, they ask where I say it's because of the church. I'm a new creature.
Isabel Loco Jack shares that sentiment. She remembers passing by what she describes as a beautiful church building in 1985.
I said, what kind of building is this? Who are the people that are living in this kind of house that I want to go in and see for myself?
Before long, she had joined the church and become part of a vibrant and growing congregation.
Well, the Church of Jesus Christ have changed my life completely. Perception about things, so many things about the church.
Changed lives. That's what these Nigerian Latter-day Saints talk about when sharing their feelings about the church.
It was this church that made me stop smoking, that I was a master smoker.
I was in darkness before I joined the church because I've done so many things.
I should say I'm a lot more resigned to God's will.
Emotion filled the hall when President Hinckley arrived for the general session of the Port Harcourt Regional Conference. The people were excited to see him, and he was equally overcome by the warmth and vastness of the congregation that greeted him.
I'm absolutely amazed at the growth of the church in this part of the world.
20 years earlier, such a meeting never would have been possible in Nigeria or any other community or nation with an exclusively black population. Until 1978, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints excluded blacks from the church's priesthood. But that policy changed on June 8, 1978.
I want to express deep appreciation for the revelation which came to President Spencer W. Kimball 20 years ago, under which all of the opportunities and blessings of the church should be made available to every worthy man. What a marvelous thing that was. I was present when it happened. I'm an eyewitness to what happened. We were in the temple in Salt Lake City, kneeling before the Lord in prayer when that manifestation came, which brought the priesthood to you, brethren. And how grateful we are, how thankful we are.
They sat enraptured by the words of their prophet leader. His visit and his sermon seemed to underscore the dramatic change that came not only to Nigeria as a result of the 1978 revelation, but to the church in general.
We're all alike unto our Father in heaven. There is no discrimination in his sight. We're all his sons and daughters.
Beyond the conference hall and the white shirts and ties and beautiful dresses is a nation and a people still struggling to emerge from centuries of oppression. In villages outside the large cities, living conditions remain somewhat primitive, and the arrival of visitors from America caused quite a stir. Lady Diana, the Princess of Wales, once visited this village and became the patron of a weaving center where the women of the village use their inherent skill to earn some money. This day, the women have woven a special piece of cloth. They plan to present it to the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
This is a great nation. This is a nation where there's much of Christianity. You see signs of that everywhere, and we're grateful for that.
The people listened intently to every word of his 40-minute sermon and seemed to soak in the practical counsel he gave.
We can reach out to help those whose burdens are heavy and who carry very heavy loads. We can be friendly and kind and generous and good.
In the end, it was hard to say goodbye, but the conference was over, and it was time for President Hinckley to leave Nigeria for his next historic stop.
I'm grateful for your faith. I hope you'll remember this day when we came among you to express our love and our blessing. I don't know that I'll ever come back here. I'm an old man. I'm 87 years of age. I don't know whether I can make it again. But I'll always remember this day when this great hall was filled with faithful people. God be with you till we meet again. Is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Kofi Opari is as devoted to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as a man can be. He is a returned missionary and currently serves as bishop of the Christiansborg Ward in Accra, Ghana. But Bishop Opari and his wife Teresa feel something is missing in their lives. They have never been to one of the church's temples, never participated in those sacred rites and ordinances.
It is difficult when you explaining things about temple to people.
The closest temple is 8 hours away by air in Johannesburg, South Africa. The trip is an enormously expensive and difficult undertaking. As a result, many West African Latter-day Saints have not yet made the journey. So you can imagine their joy when President Gordon B. Hinckley came to their land with a surprise announcement.
This morning, we approved the purchase of a beautiful piece of ground on which we propose to build a temple in Accra, Ghana.
The spontaneous cheer and applause underscored the excitement of Ghana's Latter-day Saints. They had hoped for it, fasted and prayed for it, and now their prophet said it would happen. A temple in Accra, Ghana, on this 3-acre site not far from the center of the city.
Oh, I'm so excited. Very, very excited about it. And we'll do our best to make sure it comes.
I'm so glad at this announcement. We never expected this. But all the same, we've been praying for all these years to have a temple. So we thank God the prophet has come and given us this promise.
We have applied for the temple, and then now the temple is here with us. So we are very grateful.
Their exuberance following the announcement could hardly be contained. Hugs, handshakes, even tears. But above all, sheer joy.
Wonderful news to us.
Are you ready for it?
Well, we are going to get ready. Even if we are not ready, we are going to get ready. Now we are going to work very, very hard to be worthy of the temple.
Great.
J.W.B. Johnson found special joy and satisfaction in the announcement. If there's a Mormon pioneer in Ghana, Johnson is it. 34 years ago, long before President Kimball's 1978 revelation, in 1964, a friend who had been in Ireland gave Johnson some church literature.
I gave me some of the books, and I read them, especially the Book of Mormon and the testimony of the prophet Jesus Smith, and I became highly interested.
Without official sanction from Salt Lake City, without the authority of the priesthood, Reverend Johnson, as he began to call himself, shared the message of Mormonism with others.
The Lord revealed the truthfulness of the church to me on my land, before the missionaries.
He called his group the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and wrote church leaders in Salt Lake City for direction. But the time wasn't right for missionaries to be sent, for an official church organization to be established.
We had only few books at that time, only 2 books of Mormon, which we were sharing. Until the time missionaries came in, then we had more.
Then came the events of June 1978. On September 9th that year, J.W.B. Johnson declared his total allegiance to the church in a letter to the First Presidency. We therefore solemnly declare in the name of Jesus Christ that God has prepared the groups in Ghana for you, for we have nowhere else to go, but look forward to your sending to us missionaries to help us understand the church better, for it is our burning desire to live by the faith of this church in order to attain its standards. Within weeks, missionaries arrived, 2 couples from Salt Lake City, and soon entire congregations, including J.W.B. Johnson, underwent baptism and became official members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I shed tears of joy and gratitude. I thank God for the great work He has done, because I started with only few people, with few literature, and now the Lord has blessed us with more books and more priesthood and more membership. So I'm so grateful to God.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for leading it. Thank you. You're most welcome. Thank you. Please sit down.